If you could cure one disease, what would it be? I'd pick the one that's upstream from war and famine and social ills, bad marriages, bad jobs, lack of fulfillment. This disease is not in your blood. It's actually in your head. It's what happens when your mind stops being a tool that sees reality and becomes a tool for dodging it, dressing it up and trading truth for comfort. Before you swipe away, here's a simple tell. As you're hearing this, do you feel a strong urge to swipe away? Like, no, I don't want to hear this. No, don't judge it. No, I don't want to notice it. That reflex is the doorway. Try something. You were born 1,000 years ago in Tibet or 5,000 years from now in Budapest. Would you believe what you believe right now? The honest answer is no. And that means you've got a problem on your hands. You have to ask, are your beliefs based on reality or were they installed? Have you been programmed, brainwashed as it were? Stay with me for a minute because I'm going to talk about this disease, how you get it, and how you remove it without losing your mind. The name of this disease is mysticism. In plain English, it's when you stop using your mind to deal with reality and you start using it to escape reality. If your kidneys don't work, it's called kidney disease. If your mind stops doing its job to keep you alive, then it's a thinking disease. The symptom, it's simple. You replace what's true with what feels good. What do I believe? You swap evidence for comfort. If you say mysticism to most people, they think, crystals and candle shops and stuff like that. But it quietly shows up every day. It's the voice that says, I know this is hurting me, but I'll deal with that later. It's skipping sleep, living on junk, drinking too much, dodging hard conversations, and then calling it just life or everything happens for a reason. It's using feelings and excuses as a permission slip. And here is the real cost. A mystical mind becomes incompetent at living. Not evil, not stupid, just unfit for reality. You miss opportunities because you're waiting for the mood, a sign, the right vibe. You damage your body because consequences feel far away. You waste your years. You keep telling yourself a story instead of taking action. Then comes the pattern that traps people. Blame. Everything is somebody else's fault. Is it the economy? Is it your boss, your parents, your partner? Bad luck, perhaps. The universe. Anything but the baseline cause. You stopped reality testing. Here's a quick self-test. When you hear someone challenging your belief that you've held for years, do you feel a reflex to just shut it down? Not because you check the facts, but because it feels dangerous to question it. That reflex is a clue. Mysticism makes people easy to steer. If you stop testing reality, somebody else is going to define reality for you. And that's why there's talkers out there selling fog. They're collecting your time, your money, even your life. So what is this programming costing you? We have to look at a moral story that keeps this fog protected, even when it hurts you. Most of us think that being good means being kind. And that's true as far as it goes. But there's another rule that people get taught. And it's sneaky because it sounds noble. And it becomes your moral autopilot. And once it's installed, it can steer your whole life without you even noticing it. This autopilot rule seems simple. The best person is the one who gives and gives and gives without stopping to ask hard questions. You're trained to admire the one who hands over their time and their money and their energy and their admiration, even their life, because it's framed as the right thing to do. And you're trained to feel, uneasy, guilty, shameful for even thinking, wait a minute, is this wise? Is this deserved? Is this even my responsibility? That is not generosity. That is a pressure system that's part of the programming. Because once your autopilot is set that way, you don't have to be convinced with facts. You just have to be nudged with a moral label. Someone wraps a demand in a shiny ribbon and you feel obligated to comply. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying never help. Rational giving is real. It's great. You help the people you value. You support causes you've checked out that mean a lot to you. You invest in family and friends because it fits your values and your life. So it's time for another self-test. When someone asks you to give, can you say no calmly without getting shamed, guilty, treated like a bad person? And if you can't do that, something else or someone else is driving. Let's look at where this autopilot takes us when giving isn't enough. People hear the word sacrifice and they picture heroes. Fair enough. A parent who risks everything to protect their kids, a soldier who fights for the country that protects their family's future. That isn't throwing your life away. That's love in action. That's an investment. That's calculated. That's defending what you value most. The insidious kind of sacrifice I'm warning you about, the part of the programming, very different. It's when the return isn't worth it, but you've been trained to call it noble anyway. You give up your time, your money, your opportunities, your energy, even your self-respect. And you do it because you've been taught in the programming that you're a good person if you do that. So you shouldn't calculate, you shouldn't question, you shouldn't protect your own life. Once you accept that programming, you become easy to manage. You become a sacrificial animal. You're a slave. Because now, anybody can wrap a demand in moral language and shove it into your hands and say, do this or you're selfish. Pay this or you're cruel. Agree to this or you're a bad person. When those labels work on you, they don't need to persuade you anymore. They just need to press that button, that mystical button, and activate that altruistic ethic. So let me ask you a blunt but important question. Who benefits when ordinary people give and give and give while feeling proud about it? All of this has a purpose. It just didn't come out of the blue. Somebody is skimming off the top. Somebody's living off your guilt and shame and pain. Somebody's building power out of your compliance. You're not helpless. You can reprogram. Here's the exit ramp. You can be a loving person. You can be generous without being owned. You can help by choice, value for value, with your eyes wide open. And you can say no without shame. Another quick test. When you're asked to give, are you free to think, is this earned? Is this wise? Is this mine to carry? If those questions are forbidden, you're not being guided by goodness. You're being controlled. And like ever-rising taxes, this never stays small. It escalates. Now you've made it this far, so I'll give you the bottom line. If you want love and happiness and prosperity, you have to protect the one tool that makes them possible. A reality-focused mind. Mysticism is installed in you, and it teaches you to dodge reality. The moral autopilot teaches people to hand over their life without thinking. The sacrifice is the final trap. You're convinced it's actually noble to give up what you need to live, while someone else is skimming off the top from your compliance. Maybe I'm the first person who told you this, but you don't need to live like this. You can be kind without being conquered. You can help without being used. You can lead yourself. You can build a strong marriage, a strong body, a strong household, a strong future, because you're making the choices on purpose, not running on guilt and fog. This life is not a rehearsal, so if any part of this hits you, don't just nod and scroll. Pick one area of your life and start reality testing today. Ask, what's true? What's earned? What's worth it? And you're not alone. Julie and I have put together a whole framework in our books. Look for our books, Todd and Julia Reinhardt. We're all over Amazon.